Hello everyone and welcome to the Shmup Gauntlet. This is the first video in a series I'm calling Backlog Blitz.
Backlog Blitz.
That's where I attack older games from my backlog and talk about them retrospectively. This one's focusing on shmups or shoot-em-ups. These have been around since the late 70s with games like Space Invaders or Centipede, and they've been all over the place in arcades back when that was actually still a thing. These games test your reflexes, precision, and memorization in ways that arcade-style games are really good at doing. So for this gauntlet, I'll be playing 5 different games for at least 30 minutes apiece just to give them all a fair shake. And at the end, I'll decide which one I liked best to attempt a 1cc or 1 credit clear on at some later date. The criteria for this isn't going to be too concrete or scientific. Generally, what I look for in these games, though, are a responsive feel, creative enemy and boss design, really crunchy explosions — I love a crunchy explosion — and unique weapons and power-ups that feel really strong from the beginning all the way throughout the game. I'll also be playing on this bad boy. It's an original Mad Catz TE Tournament Edition arcade fight stick, originally released with Street Fighter 4. Most of these games were released on arcade and designed to use this style of input. And in my experience, playing a game with the inputs that it was designed around generally gives you the best experience. So let's do this damn thing. Okay, first game up in the gauntlet is Ikaruga. Ikaruga, which apparently is some kind of Japanese spotted pigeon or something. Way less badass than it sounds. So this game was developed by a studio called Treasure, which was a development team under Konami for a very long time. They worked on some 16-bit games under the Castlevania and Contra umbrella, and they also worked on the much beloved Simpsons arcade games from the 90s. But they got kind of sick of working on the same IP and licensed stuff over and over again, and they wanted to create some original stuff. And Konami shot them down for that, so they split off and made their own company called Treasure. And the very first game that they created, their maiden voyage, was a hidden gem on the Sega Genesis, or the Mega Drive as it's known in other parts of the world, called Gunstar Heroes. This is one of my favorite games from that system. It's kind of like Contra, except brighter, faster, and crunchier, and just kind of better in general. You can find that game for super cheap on a bunch of different platforms, so I do recommend you check that out if you're into retro gaming at all. But anyway, this game features a polarity gimmick, where there is a white and a black polarity, and as long as you are in the same polarity mode as the bullets that are coming at you, you are immune to those bullets. So we got a fire button, we have a polarity button, and we have a sort of energy release or a bomb button. All right, so let's get right into this and see how it goes. Lots of text here that, and they don't give you nearly as much time as you would need to read it all, so I'll probably be largely ignoring that. Looks like they start you off in white polarity here, and it looks like you get an energy meter for collecting these shards that are dropped from enemies of the same polarity here. Now that energy meter builds up, and then there's a button that you press to release it in a sort of multi-shot, I believe. So once that fills up, we'll see what that looks like. All right, let's see what this multiple shot does. Oh yeah, that's useful. So far, it's fairly simple. I'm gonna eat my words here, I just know it. But I can see this polarity gimmick, getting very hectic really quickly. It does seem to take a second or two to switch polarity, so I can see that being an issue as well. You know, switching right before an opposite polarity bullet hits you will probably result in a death more often than you'd like. Ah! Okay, barely got through that one. Okay, this is nutty. Okay, so being like polarity does not save you from collision damage. That's good to know. And as you can see, these shoot-'em-up games, they're simple by nature, but they can get really tough. All right, first boss enemy here. He looks pretty cool. Switch polarity to match his spread shot there while we're trying to dodge the black bullets. And here comes some black polarity bullets. We'll go ahead and switch. Yeah, for now it's not too much to keep up with, but I can see how trying to do this on the fly with really crazy bullet patterns and enemies and bullets all over the place is going to be pretty nuts. Woo, it's tense, guys. Switch polarity there. Polarity. Ah, yeah, see. You got to be on the ball switching these polarities all the time. Woo. Man, this is tough. This is really hard. So this was a concern that I had about this game. This polarity gimmick gives you one more thing to think about in the midst of these crazy bullet hell patterns and a game genre that is already tough to begin with. Adding another layer of complexity on top of that might be overwhelming for people who suck at these kind of games like me. Yeah, that collision damage is going to be tough. This is really hard. A lot to add onto your mental stack here between the polarity, between you know, trying to gather bullets of your current polarity to increase your energy meter, and trying to avoid the opposite polarity bullets, and trying to avoid collision damage all at the same time. I can see that this would be one of those games where memorizing levels and enemy patterns and bullet patterns and rehearsing and practicing would go a long way. But in terms of improvisation and kind of sneaking your way through these levels if you don't know what's going on is going to be really difficult. And because of that, I feel like this would be a really tough game to start with in the shoot 'em up genre. So we can basically credit spam our way through this, and then we have our lives cranked up. This is usually what really good shoot 'em up players recommend to do on your first playthrough, is just credit spam the entire game through so you can get an idea of what to expect and then start refining your gameplay from there. And there is kind of a risk-reward system for with the polarity stuff on this game. You do more damage at opposite polarity, but you're immune to their bullets at the same polarity. Oh! Also trying to avoid collision. It's a lot. Oh, that's some good level design right there. Oh, geez. How did I get through that? All right. How good the level design was. No, this is great. This is some creative level design here. They're using the polarity system in some very interesting ways with these boxes here. A lot of polarity switching here. I feel like almost like I'm doing something wrong because of it. Okay. Oh. 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 I did not even see those white bullets. Ooh, that's quick. What hit me? Oh, there is a bit of difficulty give and take with this polarity system though, because if you're in the right polarity, it allows you to almost just ignore the bullets on the screen and focus on the obstacles. Ooh. It just died immediately. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Wow. Okay. Some interesting boss design there. Actually, some very creative boss design. Very, very challenging, not beginner friendly, but that does give experts a sort of thing to strive for. If it's too easy, nobody's going to want to play this for more than, you know, however long it takes to beat it. Why do I do this to myself? Okay, so far, a lot of the level design itself in terms of how you play it has been interesting and creative, but the way that the levels look with just these kind of dingy browns and just industrial, like over industrialized worlds, they're getting pretty homogenous, I think. Not that that's a deal breaker, because you're actually spending very little time looking at the actual art on these games, and more time just getting destroyed by bullets that you don't even see. Now, I'm complaining a lot about, oh geez, I'm complaining a lot about not being able to see what's killing me, But I will say that the bullets themselves are actually quite easy to see and to make out. It's the obstacles and the barricades that are really tough. Oh. Oh my god. I mean, it's not just me, right? You can see how difficult this is without even having to play it, right? I promise, I don't suck generally at video games. It's just that this is very difficult. So they'll give you a button that sort of clears the screen, or a big area on the screen at least. And while it's active, it'll give you invincibility. This game has scrapped that in lieu of this polarity system. Yeah, these games were definitely designed to steal your quarters, that's for sure. That's my 30 minutes up, so after this, we'll switch to a new game. This is absolutely insane. I don't remember, I think the very first boss was the only one that I've actually destroyed in this entire game. Is there such thing as an all-miss run when you're doing a 1cc? This kind of does have a final boss feel to it though, right? Getting better. I was just gonna say, I'm getting better. Another big crunchy explosion. Big cinematic scene there. Oh, we sacrificed ourselves to save the world or the universe or whatever. Is this what we wished for? Don't worry, we'll understand each other someday. And the life is succeeded into the distant future. Yeah, definitely some translation snafus there. It's honestly part of the charm of these Japanese games, though. We're able to credit spam our way all the way through this. So let's see, what was the criteria that I set up for in the very beginning of this sort of shmup gauntlet here? I wanted creative boss design, which I think this does hit. I didn't see anything like super bonkers and like, whoa, that was a cool boss, but things that they did with the polarity system in here and different ways to use obstacles and barricades and stuff, I thought was very creative and kind of added variance to the difficulty and the challenge of this game. There were definitely some crunchy explosions, which was part of my criteria. Another one was powerful and unique feeling weapons all the way through. There weren't really any power-ups to speak of, and the laser weapon that you had was kind of plain Jane through most of it. There was the multi-shot that you kind of had to charge up by absorbing bullets and shrapnel from the current polarity that you were in. So there was a little bit of variety and strategy involved in that. But in terms of like a big, crunchy, powerful weapon or like unique power-ups that you could kind of discover throughout the game, there wasn't really much of that. Overall, I think this game is fantastic. I would like to return to it at some point once I kind of cut my teeth a little bit on maybe some easier games. There's just a lot going on with the polarity in this game. The mental stack on this is huge. It's very overwhelming. I'm not sure that this is a game that you want to try your first 1cc with. All right, let's move on to the next game, which is Dodonpachi. Dodonpachi, which translates to something like Angry Leader B, I guess, which is more badass than Spotted Pigeon, right? This one comes from Cave, a development studio that was formed from the remnants of Toaplan, which also had a ton of great shmup releases in the 90s. Cave, by the way, stands for Computer Arts Visual Entertainment, and many consider it to be the sort of preeminent developer of modern shmups. They focus on the bullet hell style of shoot 'em up, which sounds completely awful and really tough, but some of them do tend to be a little more accessible than the traditional Japanese shoot 'em up, just because the bullets seem to come a little slower and you get to memorize the bullet patterns and figure out how to navigate your way through there just a little bit easier than trying to dodge super fast bullets. So for this playthrough, I am going to be using the Black Label version, which just a really quick scan on Reddit said that this one might be the most accessible for beginners. Gotta love those arcade copyright warnings, right? Hits me in the nostalgia every time. Okay, so the only setting I see here for credit spamming type stuff is that I can crank my lives up to 5. I don't see anything about free play. I'm wondering if that's just a default setting for this game. I can also set the difficulty down to 1, but I want to get some kind of feeling on how hard this game is going to be. So I don't want to play the easiest difficulty level because that might be too easy. But I think a 2 out of 4 sounds about right. Just going into it, we'll see. I'll probably eat my words here in the next 10 minutes or so. All right, let's hop in and see how this goes. Okay, I got a 10-second limit to figure out which ship I want. Let's just go with the top one. It looks like we get 3 different ships with 3 different shot patterns. We also get 3 different styles here. Let's go with bomb style, and we'll go with auto bomb on. It'll make it just a little bit easier. So if we get hit, instead of taking the loss, we're actually going to set off a bomb instead, which will kind of save us. All right, we got a beam shot and we got a spread shot. Both of them feel pretty strong. I don't know if there's any power-ups yet in this game, but just because of how many front-loaded options there were at the fighter select screen, I'm guessing we probably won't end up getting any power-ups at all, which is all right. Okay, so in spread mode, which is the shot that I'm shooting right now, my fighter seems to move really quickly, which is good. It'll get me around enemy gunfire a little faster, but it's also much less precise. Moving to beam mode slows the ship down a little bit, which isn't going to get you out of the way of things as fast, but it is going to allow you to make more precise micro movements through these really thick bullet patterns. Oh my god, I got cornered. They really throw the enemies and the bullets at you. Yeah, I got cornered again. There's probably a way through that. Looking forward to 1cc's. You want to do a lot of recording your own gameplay. Ooh, I look like I got getting some screen tearing here. I'm gonna have to look at the settings. Don't really notice it in the heat of battle here, but definitely notice it during the cutscenes for sure. Wonder if there's some kind of VSync setting or something that I don't have set correctly. And now that I'm getting sidetracked, I'm just getting pummeled. Okay, these purple beams I can actually blast through with my own beam. So there is a little bit of mental stack there. Not quite on the same level as Ikaruga with the polarity system and the nigh invisible obstacles and stuff that you're also trying to avoid. Okay, not too bad. That whole time, though, I didn't get to notice the boss. One of my criteria for, like, which shmup will win this gauntlet is crazy, unique, and interesting boss design. And this actually, I think, fits the bill quite well. It's a Japanese schoolgirl that is a transformer that turns into a giant spaceship that tries to murder your face. That's kind of awesome. Oh, man. I feel like I'm making all kinds of crazy faces trying to get through this. Oh, out of bombs. I don't know how I made it through all of that. Ah! This is wild. I was not ready. It's very hard. I know this looks like it's kind of impossible, but I feel like when I get better at this, eventually, it's not gonna feel as completely insane. Oh man, I'm just thinking like a no miss run on this game would be absolutely insane. It would be a nightmare. Oh my god. This is nuts. Okay. I see what they're doing. All right, so with these higher level enemies, what I'm seeing how they're increasing the difficulty level is not so much just by making the bullet patterns like more intense and thicker and more dense, but also playing with the velocities of these bullets. While you're trying to focus on like your ship in its immediate vicinity, trying to make your way through these tight bullet patterns, they'll go ahead and throw like a super fast homing bullet right at you. And since you're so focused on your immediate vicinity, it becomes really difficult to see and react to that faster bullet coming right at you. Very tricky, very tricky. But I think through, you know, just honing your skills, getting a little bit of practice, and also rehearsing some of these stages and these boss fights, you can train yourself to shift your focus from narrow to wide in the precise moments that you need to do so, right? You know, it looks like I'm getting absolutely pelted here, like I'm just getting completely wrecked and completely destroyed. And I am, for sure. But I feel like I'm not doing terrible for a complete shmup noob, you know? I feel like I'm not doing that bad. I feel like I got a basic grasp of what's, you know, difficult about these games and how to get through it. Generally, the precision on the joystick is decent for a lot of this stuff. And my actual reactions are not betraying me. It's just a matter of these are just really hard games and I just need to learn and practice. Yeah, now they're really playing with the varying velocities on the bullets. It's not fair. I just got completely surrounded. How do you do this? Oh, I missed him. Didn't actually get the kill. Man. Yeah, no miss run would be an absolute nightmare. I don't know if that's like a category that people do for this game. I would imagine. This game's been around forever in different incarnations and versions and different packages. I would imagine people have gotten good enough at this game to try to do a no-miss, high score runs, 1cc's on hardest difficulties, things like that, which is playing this game right now and getting worked as much as I am seems completely insane to me. Good lord. Oh, I don't know how I made it through that. So would this be like a training versus talent thing? I don't know. But being able to see everything that you need to see all at the same time in order to navigate your way through a tough shmup like this, especially bullet hell, I would imagine just being able to pick out things in your periphery is a talent that a lot of people who are good at these games have, that a lot of people who aren't good at these games don't have. But I would also expect there to be a significant amount of training that goes along with it and practice. Okay, shoot 'em ups, especially these more classic arcade style ones that were designed to steal your quarters. They're really, really tough, right? They're notoriously hard and difficult to defeat. And on that level, they have something in common with the Souls-like games. Also that, like, you know, you enter a situation that seems impossible the first time through, and then you slowly, you know, spend a couple dozen hours here or there, and you start seeing ways through. You start getting better at it, and all of a sudden it doesn't seem so hard anymore. I would say this is even harder than a Dark Souls games for the same reasons, because at least with a Dark Souls game, usually when you lose to a boss, you can see a way to beat them. With this game, and Ikaruga as well, it's so hard with like these crazy bullet patterns and bullet speed variability and artificial mental stacks that it puts on the player, that it's a lot harder to see how you would beat this, how you would defeat this without getting hit, right? All right, what are my thoughts on this game? I thought it was excellent. I thought this might be the best shmup I've ever played, honestly. Music's great. Spaceship design was great. Sound design was awesome. I really appreciated all the different tile sets for all the different levels. You get some variability in the background there that just keeps it a little bit fresh, and you don't get so depressed just looking at the background. Crunchy explosions all over the place. Sounded great. Ooh, I get to put my name in. 3rd place. Look at that. But do I want to attempt an immediate 1cc on this? I don't think so. I don't know yet. I have to see how the other games feel and how hard they are and how approachable I feel like they are and how much I actually like them. But I really do love this game. It has all the tools, the training tools and everything to it. It's a lot of fun to play. It really demands a lot of focus, so you get into that flow state like almost immediately. And the boss design was really cool too. Very unique with like the sort of, you know, Japanese schoolgirl aesthetic that when they transformed into different phases and things like that, it was really cool. But it was kind of a theme for all the bosses, so it didn't feel really unique from boss to boss, even though, you know, there were different bullet patterns and beam patterns and different ways that they manipulated your mental stack and things like that. They kept it interesting for sure. They kept it different from boss fight to boss fight, but not a whole lot of wow factor after that first one, you know? Yeah, so far, I think I like this one better than Ikaruga, but we still have 8 more games to check out, so let's move on. All right, next game up is Stardust Galaxy Warriors Stellar Climax. Stellar Climax. That's way too many words, man. All right, this is the newest game on the list, and honestly, before ChatGPT recommended me this one, I had never heard of it. So apparently this is by a very small company called Dream Loop out of Finland, and they only have 2 games that they've released, and this is the only shmup. Other than that, it's gotten pretty good reviews on Steam, so I don't know. I don't really know anything else about it, so let's just hop right in, huh? Music kicks a little bit though, huh? About to get down with my bad self. All right, well, the campaign mode seems to be the default option, so let's go ahead and start there. I don't know, I kind of like this this big blue guy here with the wings. Blue Falcon, ranged artillery, special move, photon javelin. Chain gun, rips enemies apart with relentless stream of tungsten bullets. Gotta go with that one. Okay, I like this one. Emits concentrated waves of ionized stardustium particles. Stardustium, huh? All right, sounds like a beam, so we're gonna go with that. Denied. I'm not gonna read all this. Let's just shoot stuff. Come on, man. All right. Okay, so we got melee with that button. Okay, this is interesting. Trying to find all the different... Oh, okay. Here's my Gatling gun. This is probably my primary fire. Okay. Everything's feeling very spongy right now, which leads me to believe that maybe... Okay, there's probably power-ups. We also have a health meter, which is usually... not the greatest sign in the world. Controls work well, though. They seem to be responsive. Okay, yeah, this is what I was thinking. Everything seems really spongy, so it seems like there's some kind of progression system. Either that or we're going to be getting more power-ups throughout the levels. Okay, there's that might be the distortion technique, kind of your bomb. Okay, so I'm just fighting a giant asteroid here. Is that what I'm doing? Okay, it's glowing red. That usually means it's just about dead, I think, I hope. Also, it looks like there might be a crit hit system. Did I kill it or did I just time out? I can't really tell. There wasn't a whole lot of feedback on that one. Just kind of turned red and crashed into something. Yeah, okay, so just what I was saying, there's a crit hit system here that doubles your damage. That seems really powerful, actually, especially with something rapid fire like the chain gun. Luckily, getting hit seems to be very forgiving, at least in this game mode. I wonder if one of the other game modes are a little more suited for a more hardcore... Ooh, that's a power-up. I don't seem to be controlling that at all. It's just like a homing turret. Oh! It's kind of hard to see when that thing's gonna... It's a subtle visual cue. coming out of the tip of that spaceship when that beam is going to come out on you. Ooh, we got an achievement, untouchable. Beat a campaign level without taking health damage. Yeah, so you saw how many times I got hit there, and I still didn't take any actual health damage. Okay, so we have a little bit of a merchant system here. So there is a progression system in it, which kind of diminishes the value of a 1cc, I think. Just because I wonder if the progression that you get here kind of sticks with you throughout the campaign, even as you like die and have to restart and stuff. Kind of like this flak ammo. Proximity explosion to all of your attacks. Heck yeah. Oh, that like wiped out all my credits too. Oh well, I'm ready. The flak ammo was a good call. Makes everything a little crunchier, a little more explosive. Yeah, and I'm not really sure what to make of this hitbox either. It seems to be not quite the whole model of your mech fighter here, but also it doesn't have like a small little glowing dot in the middle of it like the Dodonpachi ships do. Yeah, what? No, all right. So with Dodonpachi, there was like these really dense bullet hell patterns. That was just a pure wave of stuff that you're just gonna die if you don't have the shield power to get through it. I don't think. Here I was complaining about how easy this game was, and now I'm just getting worked over and over again. But the thing is, with these other games, it's like I knew why I died, and I knew how to fix it, and how to get through it. This one just seems to be putting me in the same death loop over and over again, right? Okay, so this button configuration on this joystick is really wonky. I think that this game was designed to be played on a controller. So after my next sort of little game over here, I'm gonna switch to that, see if it plays a little better. Okay, now playing on the Xbox Elite. I think the issue for me is the hitbox on the player's mech. It's a little bigger. It's both bigger and smaller than you'd expect. So I'm sure you could get used to it, but you don't always get hit by things that you expect to get hit by, and then sometimes you will get hit by things you don't expect. Movement actually does feel a lot better with the analog sticks on the controller than it did with the digital joystick. I can tell that even movement was designed to be used with a controller. It's kind of what I was talking about at the beginning of the video, where you're going to get the best experience playing with the input type that the game was designed for. Not really an arcade mode, even though it says it is. You don't get to actually continue. It's just a retry. So it seems like if I want to do the 1cc, it's pretty much just see if you can get through the gauntlet. All right, my 30-minute timer is up on this one. Didn't get too far in this one, just because of the lack of the crutch of the credit spamming. Okay, so what did I think of this one? It feels a little, I don't know, it's got that Euro shmup kind of loosey-goosey feeling to it, and I think most of it has to do with it being designed to be used with an analog stick instead of a digital 8-way joystick. It would be a lot of fun. I mean, it was a lot of fun. I think it would be great for, like I said, if you have friends over, you can co-op this thing. You can play 4 at a time, which would be great. It did feel a little wonky with the hitboxes on the player's mech. It didn't really seem too well defined. At least there was no visual representation of where you could get hit and where you couldn't get hit. There was a very generous health bar and very generous shield meter, which you definitely need because there are parts in the game where it seems pretty inescapable. As far as a 1cc on this, I don't think it's even really possible. Like, where a lot of old arcade shoot 'em up games, the point of it is to score really high scores, maybe try to get all the way through the thing on 1 credit, and different goals outside of just beating the game. I think that the point of this game is just to get through it and just to beat it. It's more of a conventional sort of gaming experience than it is like the old arcade shoot 'em up experience where you have these different goals that you set out for yourself and practice until you get it. This one for me seems like, okay, once I beat it once, I kind of feel content with it and I'm probably not gonna play it anymore. But that's not like a condemnation of the game or anything. It was really bright, it was really colorful, it was quick, it was fast, and the music was good. So, good game, just not what I'm looking for. Okay, right back at it with the next game, which is Deathsmiles. This is another one by Cave and one of its rare horizontal shooters. I've actually played this one a little bit in the past and I already do know that I like it. Some of the art direction and stuff in this game and some of the themes just go absolutely bonkers in the absolute best ways possible. This one does have a gimmick sort of similar to Ikaruga, but maybe not quite as intense. And that is the direction shift button. So at any point you can hit the directional shift button to flip which way your character is facing and shoot the opposite way. That will add a little bit to the mental stack, but from what I remember, this game wasn't nearly as difficult as something like Ikaruga or even Dodonpachi, but I don't think I've ever beaten this game, so it's entirely possible that it ramps up like crazy, right? Okay, there seems to be a lot of different versions of the game included in this compilation here. I'm not sure what the difference between, you know, ABC normal, ABC arcade, regular arcade. I'm just gonna go with normal. This seems to be the default setting. All right, character select. I'm sure that there are gameplay ramifications with who you pick. And we're gonna go ahead and view the tutorial here too. So A button does left shot. Okay, so it's not a directional shift. It's actually different buttons shooting different directions. That's probably a little better than a directional shift. So we got left shot, right shot, and a bomb. Start with level 1. Yeah, so this is like kind of Halloween themed stuff, like monsters and wizards and things like that. Not as much spaceship shooty stuff, but kind of like bonkers monsters and magic type stuff. Yeah, this game came out in 2007. That was its original arcade release. So this is one of the more contemporary arcade games that we're going to be playing on this list. And I think you can tell kind of by the sort of pseudo 3D modeling on some of these sprites. Looks like they were modeled off of like a claymation type thing. Kind of similar to how Donkey Kong for Donkey Kong Country for the Super Nintendo was. Of course, I'm killing all these enemies before we ever get a real good look at them. Yeah, so about that, the standard shot feels pretty powerful. It feels impactful. The explosions aren't quite as crunchy as what I usually go for, but everything feels really good. Ah, woo, ah. Okay, yeah, if this is the first level, ooh, gotta make sure I get all the power-ups. There we go. Yeah, if this is the first level, I kind of feel like the difficulty is gonna ramp up here pretty quick, so maybe this isn't as easy as I remember. And it looks like you have branching paths that you can choose as far as the level select on this game. Okay, so you do seem to move a little bit more slowly if you're firing, but if you're not firing, you move a little bit more quickly. It's not like a beam mode versus spread mode shot in Dodonpachi. It's just whether or not you're firing. It's a nice compromise on the mental stack there, I think. You have 2 directions to worry about in this game, but really only one shot type. And a bomb. And if you notice the glowing heart in the middle of the player character model, that is the hitbox. So it does give you quite a bit of leeway in trying to squeeze through these tight bullet patterns with a smaller hitbox. Just like Dodonpachi did. Oh no. Oh yeah, bonkers boss design. Okay. That's definitely one of my criteria for the 1cc game that I pick. Oh, he's getting angry. Still haven't taken a hit. Better knock on wood here pretty quick. So going into this, my preferences were like the spaceship stuff with the big explosions and the powerful weapons. But I gotta say, I'm absolutely loving the charm that this game brings. And as opposed to the last game, it just feels right playing a game like this on an arcade stick, right? You can tell this is what this game was designed to be played on. Oh, I thought those were power-ups, not bullets. That was the first hit I took. Okay. All right, now it's getting a little nutty. That is a powerful bomb. That is indeed a powerful bomb. Oh man, all right, yeah, the boss design in this is absolutely nutters, and I love it. Okay, the one criticism I have so far is that the bomb button is a little bit in a weird place, just due to the 2 different directional shot buttons. My regular right shot is the B button on my arcade stick, which is usually what I would use as a bomb button. Not a big deal. I'll get used to it pretty quickly, I think. So far, it hasn't been completely overwhelming. And as I play this game more and I learn when to expect enemies from either side, the easier that will be to deal with. Yeah, getting a little more intense trying to hit enemies on either side, especially on either side of these obstacles. At least the obstacles aren't damaging me like they do in Ikaruga. Okay, a little bit different of a boss character in this one. Somebody a little more like the player character. Oh my gosh, how do I keep trying to hit the wrong button for a bomb here, but so far I haven't gotten hit, so. Yeah, there we go, got hit that time. I just hit the bomb button just a little bit too late. Okay, not too bad. And it does look like we have some kind of health meter up there too, which I hadn't noticed the first time. So I think the 1cc is still active, huh? Don't look now. I feel like I'm playing on an easy mode though. I feel like the original arcade versions that come with this compilation are probably much harder. Oh my god, what is this monstrosity? Okay. Oh. Whatever the devs were high on when they made this game, I feel like I kind of want some. Whew. Gotta know when to use those bombs. Okay, got one left. Wow, okay, yeah, this is getting tough. All right, yeah, okay, there goes the 1cc. Okay, now they're kind of doing the Ikaruga thing and the Dodonpachi thing for this last guy, where they are giving you very hard to see obstacles alongside very easy to see bullets, and then also the varying projectile speeds that throw you off. Might have been more worth it just to take a hit there than try to use a bomb, just because bombs seem to be more of a precious commodity than life in this game. But if I run out of life, I lose the game. If I run out of bombs, I still get to fight. So kind of a toss-up there, I think. Especially considering that this level's called, like, Final Level or something like that. Oh, they're squishing when I kill them. The question, though, is do I love a squishy centaur as much as I love a crunchy explosion? This is really awesome. I love the sort of creepy ball vibe to this. And the momentum of the screen is shifting from left to right, kind of like a waltz. This is absolutely ingenious. I absolutely love it. Jitterbug? The big bad boss in this game is named Jitterbug? Oh, wow, okay. That was just an undefeatable wall of bullets. Okay, very tough boss fight here. Woo, they're going fast. Okay, so I feel like we're not at the end yet. Okay. Yeah, that's some proper final boss energy right there. I was too busy looking at the rest of the screen. What is that, is that a spine penis? I don't like that. I should be able to deal with these bullet patterns without bombs. I wonder if there's such a thing as a no bomb run on this game. I bet there is. Oh my goodness. Bullets everywhere. Okay, he's dead. All right, are we gonna get another surprise boss enemy here? Okay, this looks like an ending cutscene to me. Okay, so dramatic for like this very lighthearted kind of wacky game, right? I'm not crying, you're crying. Actually, this was a pretty quick one. I didn't even have to spend my full 30 minutes on it. So what did I think of this game? Well, I don't know if it was obvious or not, but I had a gigantic death smile on my face the entire time. I absolutely love this game. It played really well, but it really was just the sheer amount of charm and creativity, and just complete bonkers art design and things like that that really captured my heart on this one. I don't know, I think this is my favorite one so far, guys. I was really coming into this expecting to, you know, want like the fighter spaceship Big bombs, lasers, explosions type thing. You know, the typical masculine, manly kind of badass theme. And now here I am playing a tween witch with a pet owl and having the time of my damn life. It was also the most accessible game that I've played so far, but I feel like I'm playing on an easier mode of this game, and I feel like it gets harder. But so far, this seems like the one that I would be able to 1cc as a sort of first foray into the 1cc game, you know? All right, I don't want to move on, but I feel like I have to. All right, next up on the agenda is Crimzon Clover. I don't have anything funny to do this time. This one I'm actually kind of excited for. This is a doujin game, which means it was done as a passion project by a hobbyist instead of any kind of like serious money-making endeavor by like a big company, which sounds awesome, right? But even more awesome is the fact that this was developed by one person, a gentleman named Yotsubane, I believe, and he did this while he was in college. But it was good enough to actually eventually get an arcade release in 2011, I believe, and it also came obviously to Steam and the Switch. This is another vertical scrolling bullet hell shooter, and apparently this was modeled off of cave games like Dodonpachi. And if it gets anywhere close to that amount of quality, I think we're in for a treat here. Okay, there is a novice mode, which is default. I'm going to go to the arcade mode instead, just to get a judge on just how difficult this game is going to be. Okay, we're going to stick with the original standard mode. Looks like there's a time attack mode as well, and we get 3 different types of ships here too. I'm just going to stick with type 1, which is the default choice. Looks like you can also change your color on that, which is kind of a fun little feature. All right, we have a tutorial mode. So we have regular attack. Looks pretty strong. A nice wide spread. Lock-on button. So this is like an alternate fire type thing. Okay, I see. So it's targeting multiple enemy crafts, and then I'm guessing you let go. Yeah, you let go for a multi-shot. Very cool. And it looks like your ship flies slower during targeting mode, so when you're trying to get through those thick, dense bullet patterns, this might be the way to go to make things more precise. And then we get a brake button and a brake gauge here. It looks like that's where the bomb is. You have to at least hit the bomb threshold in order to get the bomb effect, which looks powerful and kind of awesome, frankly. And then what happens when you get a full gauge? Hit the brake button. Ooh, that's awesome. This looks fun. And then when you fill up again during brake mode and hit the brake button, you get double brake. And it does look like you get powered up multi-shot with that too, and faster targeting. Very nice. But then eventually the timer does run out. Okay. I think we're ready to go. Let's do this. Okay, this actually is a lot like Dodonpachi so far. I can definitely see the cave influences on this one. Pretty much everything from like the way that the enemies look and move with the pixel-based sprites, and the way the metals come flying down on the screen for score, and I guess probably brake mode. Oh, speaking of brake mode, let's fire this thing off. Oh my god, that's so cool. Very strong, very powerful feeling. And the sound design in this game is also excellent. Explosions are crunchy. They look very impressive. There's like screen shake that goes along with it. Oh, first death. Oh wow. Okay, look at the dense bullet patterns here. Yeah, this is not a beginner game, folks. Even though there is a novice mode, I'd be curious to see what the novice mode gets you. And I could probably definitely use it. If this is the first level, then I think... Well, actually, so far, I feel like as far as first levels go, this one is about on par with Dodonpachi, if not just a little bit easier. Although coming off of an easier game with Deathsmiles, I might have done some like reverse elevation training. Where this game feels, you know, harder than it actually is, because I'm used to playing easier games. So far, it doesn't seem too out of hand. Even though I died a couple times, I feel like I could have, if I were paying more attention, dodged those bullets appropriately. Okay, first boss fight coming up here. So far not super impressive. Supposed to be like this big scary tank. It's got quite the arsenal, but not a whole lot of wow factor. He doesn't actually look that big, right? Not super big or impressive. He's probably gonna kill me like 17 times though. Okay, based on the way that this guy is moving, yeah, here we go. He's pushing me to the side of the screen here and even like up above him. Oh, that was a quick shot. That's where that target mode, that alternate fire target mode comes in handy, because as he's pushing me more to the side instead of right in front of him, I need to be able to deal damage from odd angles, and that's where that targeted mode comes in, I believe. Also, the braver you are, like staying in the middle of the screen, the better reward you're gonna get as far as being able to damage the boss. But of course you're gonna, you know, that's where the brunt of the bullets are, so you gotta get better at that. I'm in for a real sweat session here, I think. This game is, that being the first level wasn't too bad. I did die a few times, but that wasn't too bad. But that being the first level, I think we're in for some... We're in for some real bullet hell action here. Yeah, it seems like the strategy that he's trying to use to kill you, I'm talking about Yotsubani here, is that he's trying to push you to the side or the corner of the screen with these really dense bullet patterns. And then he's throwing ships at you to damage you, like kamikaze style with the collision box. Which is a lot of what made Ikaruga so difficult, right? Because they got you focused on seeing one color of bullet, ignoring the other one, and then throwing almost invisible obstacles and enemies at you. Actually, all these bosses are fairly spongy. There seems to be 2 bosses per level. There's a mid-level boss and an end-level boss, and they all seem to have multiple phases and huge health bars, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Long, drawn-out boss fights really bring the drama and make these moments feel like very epic. But it also draws out game time. So if you're looking for something that you can get good at in 1 CC in a really quick fashion, I don't think this is going to be the game for you. I feel like a clear on this is probably going to take a lot longer than on your average shoot 'em up arcade game. Yeah, I feel like if I was doing a Dojin project based on classic shoot 'em ups, I would have to put a spider boss in there for sure. Yeah, there's no way a noob like me is going to limit credits in any way on a game like this. I'm gonna die a lot. I'm gonna spend a lot of money trying to beat this game. Definitely gonna be doing copious amounts of credit spamming to get through this. If I even make it through this with how long these boss fights are taking. It's got me pinched. Yeah, okay. I need to buy some space with my break there. Oh, this game's got me so focused. I feel like my posture's breaking down. My back is starting to hurt.
I broke my back.
What do you mean by that?
My back is broken.
Okay, one thing about the design of this game, though, you do get a lot more of the break meter than you usually do a conventional bomb in other games. So I feel like you're meant to use it a little bit more just to get through some of the more mundane parts. Some of the more, I call it mundane parts of the game. But because of that, the difficulty in general is ramped up to this ridiculous degree, because using those breaks and those bombs constantly is part of how you're meant to play. Oh boy. Yeah, look at this. This is like trying to fly an airplane through a bag of Dippin' Dots. Modern day, like, bullet hell shooters like this, they have more in common with the old board game Operation than they do with anything like Space Invaders or Galaga. Space Invaders and Galaga were all about shooting enemies and racking up high scores. Modern day bullet hell shoot 'em ups are more like avoiding traps and pitfalls and being as precise as possible without hitting an edge and making the guy's nose buzz and glow red, right? I feel like Yotobane took the Jackson Pollock school of design when it came to these bullet patterns. Where am I supposed to go here? Yep, so I feel like this this break gauge is designed to be used more defensively than offensively. You can use it to clear your way out of an impossible situation, and you can also use it to buy yourself a little bit of space in a better position relative to the enemy and where their bullet patterns are coming from. The bullet speeds on this are making it very difficult. Oh, it's okay. So it has the bullet speeds of a more classical Japanese shooter, like something like Raiden, but also combining that with the dense bullet patterns of something like Dodonpachi. I think technically this is a bullet hell game, but he is really ramping up the difficulty by putting more conventional bullet behavior, overlaying it on top of the bullet hell patterns, which is kind of an asshole move. Oh, I'm making funny faces again. This is exhausting. Yeah, so that's another interesting point about this is we talk about all the different strategies that the developer uses to make the game difficult for the player. In this case, fatigue is another weapon that he employs to great effect, especially because of the drawn-out boss battles and these just constant dense bullet patterns to where you have to focus constantly through the whole thing. And the time to play is so long in this case. Fatigue is real. You're gonna get tired playing this game faster than any of the other games that I've played yet. And that just makes you worse overall. And then, you know, you start running into stupid deaths that you would, like hitting bullets and obstacles and stuff that you would normally avoid, but now all of a sudden are deadly because you don't have the focus anymore to pay attention. Yeah, so that being said, I feel like this is a game that you're not gonna play to recharge your batteries. This is the game that you play when you're feeling like you're at 100%. When you're well rested, you have energy, you just had that cup of coffee or that energy drink, you're feeling like $100. Now it's time to play Crimson Clover. It's not like, wow, I had a hard day at work, I'm feeling sluggish, I think I'm gonna go play some Crimson Clover, because that might kill you. Okay, yep, this is tailor-made for this targeting mode. Enemies on all sides, and then while you're holding down the targeting mode, you're slower, so you're more precise to get through these funky bullet patterns. Soundtrack's kind of kicking though, I'm digging it. Did Yotobane do the music for this too? Because if so, that's really impressive, just how multi-talented this guy is. I don't know, I would be really interested and very impressed to see a 1cc of this game on arcade mode, which I'm sure I can find on YouTube. They're all over the place. I'm not sure how common they are for this game, how many of them I could actually find. But 1cc clears, or 1 credit clears for shoot 'em up games on YouTube. You can find a lot of them, but for the untrained eye, they look very unimpressive, right? Really, only people who have played these games and know firsthand how hard they are can really get a handle on like how impressive, how much a feat of gaming clearing these games in 1 credit actually is, because of how just like rehearsed and easy it looks. So I feel like there's not a huge market for those 1cc videos on YouTube, just because the average audience doesn't know what the hell they're looking at and doesn't care. Just looks like a bunch of screen pollution, flashing lights all over the place. But people who play know better, and man, it is definitely a feat of gaming for sure. This game does have a replay mode on it, so if you are trying to take these games more seriously, those replay modes are worth the price of admission for sure. They're worth their weight in gold. Sometimes when you're not under the pressure to perform and actually kill the enemy and dodge the bullets, you can see blank spots on the screen where bullets just never cross. And then if you are aware enough of that on your next playthrough, you can make sure to get into that spot and just stay there. And that's something that's almost impossible to see in the heat of the moment on your first time playthrough, or even maybe your 4th or 5th or 10th or even 20th time through. Yeah, you gotta really like the game that you're trying to 1cc, and that is really the whole part of this shoot 'em up gauntlet that I'm running right now. Try to find that game that I like enough to study and practice for the dozens of hours that it's going to take to be able to get through there on a sort of 1 credit run, or even like a flawless run. Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't even get all the way through that and I got a headache. Wow, that was rough, guys. Oh, man. All right. I feel like that was by far the hardest game that I've played yet. It put Ikaruga and Dodonpachi to shame for sure. Absolutely amazingly impressive. Even if this were done by a team of professionals, I'd be impressed by this game, but the fact that this was made by one guy while he was studying in college, that absolutely blows my mind. Yotsubane is a complete stud. That guy's the man. As far as whether or not this is a game that is suited for a first 1cc, absolutely freaking not. No way whatsoever. This is a game that's designed for people who have beaten Dodonpachi and Ikaruga over and over and over again, and they're bored and they want more of a challenge. That's how hard this game is. That being said, it does have a novice mode, which was the default choice when I was, trying to start the game. I feel like, clearing a game with a 1cc on novice mode is just, it's not impressive. It doesn't feel like much of an accomplishment, right? Maybe for this game it is. Technically, this one checked all the boxes, right? We had a very strong, powerful weapon that we could power up that felt great all the way through. Excellent job there. Sound design, crunchy explosions all over the place. The boss design, it was really good at giving you these different looks and these different challenges, and forcing you to apply different strategies in order to defeat them. That being said, the wow factor of the bosses just weren't there like they were for Dodonpachi and Deathsmiles. But still, really good boss design overall. I don't know if I'm coming back to this game anytime soon. Maybe if I have some kind of shoot 'em up epiphany and I become like this stud shoot 'em up player, I'll come back to this one for a challenge. But man, I'm tired. I am actually worn out from playing that, I gotta tell you. All right, so that was one hell of a lot of fun, but right now it's time to stop playing these games and start thinking about which one I liked best. Well, I think if you watch the whole thing, it probably would be no surprise that my favorite of all of them was Deathsmiles. This one was just oozing with charm and creativity, and it was also the most accessible one. I think the one that was most suited for a first-time 1cc on a shoot-'em-up game, especially serious ones like this. That being said, there were a bunch of different game modes that I think probably would have been harder than the one that I picked. But even at the difficulty level that I was playing, I feel like there's challenge there that, at least for a couple weeks, that it could keep me entertained while I chase that 1cc. Once I got that under the belt, I think that I might give Dodonpachi another shot. Again, there were other game modes that, instead of being harder, I think probably would have been easier and more accessible. And things like replay modes and training modes and things like that that would make me better at the game and make a 1cc of that game feel a little more approachable. And even then, when I was going back and watching the footage that I recorded to edit into this video, I was finding things that I could have done differently to have an easier time with all of them, even Crimson Clover. I also did go track down a 1cc on Crimson Clover, and there were definitely tactics that I could have been making use of that would have made those enemies a lot less spongy. So that just goes to show you that the first time through these games isn't a complete indication of how hard the game is going to be, and also how much progress you can make toward that first 1cc just by watching some recordings and refining your gameplay a little bit and learning the game a little bit more. So yeah, first 1cc I'm going for is Deathsmiles, and then maybe Dodonpachi after that, before I move on to another gauntlet. So yeah, whether or not YouTube likes this video or whether or not the viewers seem to like this video, I'm gonna do another one, absolutely, because I had so much fun actually doing this one. I don't know if it's just changing up from my typical video types and doing something different. But this was a ton of fun regardless of where that fun was coming from, or if it was just a change of pace for me. And if there are any other like older arcade games like this that you want to see me try, or like at least a series of games to put through a gauntlet like this in the future, let me know in the comments below. I love these older games. I love revisiting this bygone era of arcade game types. So yeah, like the video if you liked the video, and subscribe if you want more content like this, or if you like the content that's already on my channel, I'd suggest you giving that a look. And I am going to attack Deathsmiles and maybe Dodonpachi in the meantime.